In the middle of the Caribbean Sea, a family is enjoying a vacation on their luxury yacht. They are soaking in the peaceful moments. Meanwhile, the mother, Emma, dives into the water for a swim. After swimming comfortably for a while, she suddenly feels something strange. It feels as if something underwater is moving towards her, but when she looks around, she sees nothing. She convinces herself that it's probably just her imagination, but a few seconds later, that same strange sensation returns. Again, nothing is visible beneath the surface, but now her fear begins to grow. Panicked, she immediately starts swimming back towards the yacht. Just then, suddenly, something grabs her leg tightly and starts pulling her down. Terrified, Emma starts screaming for help. On the yacht, her daughter Leah has her headphones on listening to music, so she doesn't hear a thing. Meanwhile, her husband Mark and son Noah are busy fishing. Emma tries to keep herself above water, but with water constantly filling her mouth, it becomes nearly impossible to scream. After a while, Mark realizes he hasn't seen Emma for some time. He scans the area around the yacht, and that's when he spots his wife struggling in the water. Realizing the danger, he panics. He immediately calls out to the kids, steers the yacht in her direction, and without wasting a second, jumps into the water. Mark quickly reaches Emma, grabs hold of her, and somehow manages to swim back towards the yacht. From above, the kids pull them both up. The family helps Emma onto the deck and tries to calm her down. After some time, Emma tries to convince herself that maybe it was just strong waves or the current that caused it. As night falls, the mood lightens up. The family gathers to celebrate Noah's birthday. Amidst the laughter and jokes, everything starts to feel normal again. Just then, Leah gets a call from her boyfriend, and the story is about to take a whole new turn. After this, Leah grabs her laptop and heads out to the deck. She starts a video call with her boyfriend. On the screen, her boyfriend shows her that thick, ominous black clouds have blanketed the sky over the city. The atmosphere looks terrifying. Suddenly, the call starts glitching, and within seconds, the screen freezes completely. Panicked, Leah rushes inside to tell her family, but Mark reassures her, explaining that since they are in the middle of the ocean, the signal is weak, which likely caused the connection to fail. Just then, they all hear a strange noise coming from outside. They rush out to the deck and see a massive pod of whales passing right by them. Mark explains to the kids that whales usually follow the Earth's magnetic field, but when storm conditions breed at sea, they often lose their way. Suddenly, the yacht rocks violently, and Noah loses his balance and falls. Mark worries that there might be damage to the hull underneath. Without wasting time, he puts on his diving gear and goes underwater to inspect. A while later, he resurfaces, but he has a deep gash on his shoulder. Emma immediately treats him and starts stitching up the wound. Mark reveals that underwater, he felt a massive creature swimming behind him, but when he turned around in panic, he accidentally cut himself on the propeller. He states clearly that whatever was down there was absolutely enormous. He also checks the yacht's condition and realizes it has sustained significant damage. Given the situation, they have no choice but to call for help. Emma frantically tries to contact someone over the radio, while Leah searches for a signal on her phone, but neither the radio works, nor is there any cell service. Suddenly, Leah spots a strange shadow near the water and screams in terror, but moments later, she realizes it's just Noah playing a prank with a mask. However, the relief doesn't last long. Shortly after, the yacht completely shuts down, leaving them stranded helplessly in the middle of the ocean. Emma suddenly hears a voice coming through the radio, but the signal is so broken and static-filled that the words are impossible to understand. Within seconds, the voice vanishes again. Mark gathers the whole family and gives it to them straight. They only have food and water left for 4 days. If a fishing boat doesn't spot them in time, things are going to get much worse. Meanwhile, a strange blip appears on the radar, followed immediately by a terrifying, echoing sound. Panicked, everyone rushes out to the deck. The scene before them leaves them in shock. Burning spheres are raining down from the sky, one after another. Wherever they land, massive explosions erupt, sending plumes of water into the air. Just then, one of the fiery objects crashes into the water, dangerously close to them. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Mark frantically tries to start the yacht. The engine sputters to life with great difficulty, but at that exact moment, another fireball hits the area. The entire yacht shakes violently. Terrified, the family clings tightly to one another. A few seconds later, Mark realizes something chilling. Those falling balls of fire aren't meteors. They are crashing satellites. At the same moment, Noah spots smoke billowing from the back of the yacht. He screams to alert everyone. Mark checks immediately and confirms that the engine is now completely dead. Meanwhile, the winds pick up speed. Seeing the situation deteriorate, the family seeks shelter inside the yacht. In the chaos, Noah notices that the compass is spinning wildly, as if the Earth's magnetic system has gone haywire. The yacht begins to rock uncontrollably. Noah loses his balance again, and this time, he falls and gets injured. Outside, massive waves are relentlessly crashing against the yacht, making the situation more dangerous by the second. Amidst all this, Mark steadies himself and struggles to make his way back outside. Mark rushes inside with armfuls of life jackets. Suddenly, the yacht loses all power, plunging them into total darkness. Without wasting a second, Mark fumbles his way to the breaker box and flips the switch. Moments later, the lights flicker back on. At that exact moment, Noah notices blood trickling from Emma's nose. Emma becomes incredibly dizzy and struggles to stay on her feet. Meanwhile, Leah rushes to the sink and throws up. The atmosphere turns even more terrifying. Mark frantically keeps calling for help over the radio, but is answered only by static silence. Suddenly, a piercing, high-pitched sound screams through the air, and the winds become more violent than ever. Emma tries to bolt the doors in a panic, but a hatch flies open. Fierce winds blast inside, battering against the windows. Desperate, Mark lights a flare, hoping someone might spot their location. But soon, pitch darkness swallows them up again. The next morning, the family wakes up in a state of shock. They can barely believe they survived the horrific storm. But when they step outside, the scene before them leaves them absolutely dumbfounded. The yacht is nearly half destroyed, but even more shocking, the ocean water has completely vanished. Where there was once endless water, there is now only a vast expanse of dry land, with the yacht stranded right on top of it. Everyone is paralyzed with shock. Leah checks her phone for a signal, but the network is completely dead. Meanwhile, Noah picks up 2 dead crabs and starts playing with them, seemingly oblivious to the gravity of the situation. Mark checks the compass and sees the needle spinning in reverse. He explains that the last time this happened was millions of years ago, when the Earth's magnetic poles flipped. Leah is convinced her boyfriend couldn't have survived this catastrophe. The thought breaks her. When Emma tries to comfort her, Leah pushes her away and storms off to be alone. Emma and Mark take stock of their remaining supplies. Meanwhile, Noah ties his blue birthday balloon to a rock, hoping some survivor might spot it from afar. Mark turns on the radio one more time. Suddenly, a voice cuts through. He makes contact with a man on the other end. The man identifies himself as Aaron and says he is the captain of a submarine. Over the radio, Aaron reveals that his submarine is also stranded on dry land. He confirms that the Earth's magnetic poles have flipped, causing the oceans to recede and exposing the seabed. He also makes it grimly clear he hasn't spotted any other survivors so far, and communication systems worldwide have completely collapsed. Aaron predicts poles will reverse again, and the ocean could return within a week, but he issues a stern warning. When the water returns, it will be catastrophic. Therefore, they must move to higher ground as fast as possible. He also adds a heartbreaking detail. His partner died in the crash, leaving only 3 seats available in the submarine. Hearing this, Emma and Mark beg him desperately to save their children at any cost. Aaron provides his location coordinates. Mark calculates the distance and realizes it will take about 2 to 3 days to reach the submarine. He tells the family to get a good night's rest, as a long and dangerous journey awaits them in the morning. The next morning, as the family is busy packing essentials, Mark spots movement in the distance. Squinting, he sees a man limping nearby, holding a harpoon, accompanied by a relentlessly barking dog. Mark approaches him cautiously and offers a bottle of water. The man mutters something, but Mark can't understand the language. After drinking the water, the stranger suddenly turns violent. In a flash, he smashes the bottle over Mark's head and delivers a brutal kick to his face. It happens so fast that no one has a chance to react. Terrified, Emma tries to scramble back and run, but it's too late. The man has already driven the harpoon straight into Mark's stomach. Mark writhes in agony for a few seconds, but the stranger delivers another fatal blow to his neck. Within moments, Mark is gone. The man then charges straight after Emma and hurls the harpoon at her. It pierces her shoulder, and Emma screams in agony. Fighting through the pain, Emma scrambles inside the yacht, screaming at the children to hide immediately. She slams the door shut and locks it. Leah and Noah squeeze inside the base of the sofa in terror. Emma hands them the flare gun, grabs a knife for herself, and hides in the bathroom. Moments later, the man starts pounding on the door. Eventually, he manages to break in. Once inside, he casually grabs some food to eat before starting his search around the yacht. He heads towards the bathroom, but thinking quickly, Emma escapes through a small hatch. The stranger assumes Emma has fled, but just as Emma tries to sneak away, the man's dog spots her and starts barking furiously. As the dog lunges at her, Emma is forced to stab it with her knife in self-defense. With a pained yelp, the dog collapses dead. Hearing his dog, the man rushes outside. The moment he sees his pet's lifeless body, he flies into a blind rage. Meanwhile, Emma tries to re-enter the yacht from the other side. She climbs up and attempts to crawl through a broken window, but the man intercepts her just in time. He grabs Emma and lands a heavy punch, knocking her down. Emma tries to steady herself by grabbing the furniture, but the man kicks her away violently. He stomps on her hand, forcing her to drop the knife. Then, grabbing her by the hair, he smashes her face into the floor and throws her onto the sofa. The next instant, his hands are around her throat, strangling her. The children watch the horror unfold right before their eyes. Overcome by fear and rage, Leah bursts out of hiding and fires the flare gun without thinking twice. The burning flare strikes the attacker dead on. He is instantly engulfed in flames, and within moments, the fire begins to consume the yacht. Seeing the situation escalate, the children immediately flee, but Emma pauses for a split second. She turns back and delivers a powerful kick to the man, knocking him to the ground. Grabbing the map and the bag, she sprints after her children. Once they reach a safe distance, Noah and Leah collapse beside their father's body, sobbing uncontrollably. Emma kneels beside them. With heavy hearts and streaming tears, the three bid Mark a final, painful goodbye. It is the hardest moment of their lives. But suddenly, their hearts skip a beat. That same burnt and scorched man crawls out from the yacht's wreckage. Terrified, the family starts running again. Seconds later, a massive explosion erupts behind them, blowing the yacht to smithereens. After covering some ground, they stop near a small waterfall to catch their breath. Leah speculates that the madman might have tracked them down because of Noah's balloon. Hearing this, Noah is overcome with guilt and falls silent. Emma gently reassures him that it wasn't his fault. Rallying their spirits, she urges them to keep moving, warning that the man could still be alive and hunting them down. Moving forward, near a small pool, Noah spots a dead hammerhead shark. The sight shakes him to his core. At the same moment, Emma scans the horizon and realizes the man has closed the gap. He is dangerously close again. Running for their lives, the three slide down a steep sand dune. At the bottom, they stumble upon a wasteland filled with toxic waste and hazardous chemicals. Treading extremely carefully, the family navigates through the toxic path. After putting some distance behind them, they hope they have finally shaken off their pursuer. As they walk, they are surrounded by the carcasses of massive sea creatures. The area is littered with plastic and debris from the ocean floor, painting a grim picture of the devastation. After walking for hours, Noah begins to lag behind. Emma instantly realizes he is on the verge of severe dehydration. She signals everyone to halt immediately. As Emma picks up the water bottle, her face goes pale. It's nearly empty. A wave of shock hits her. She suddenly realizes she hadn't closed the cap properly, and all the precious water has slowly leaked away. Seeing this, Leah's temper flares. She screams at Emma, accusing her of carelessness. "Because of you, we have nothing left to drink!" The situation was already dire, and this mistake makes the atmosphere even heavier. Emma replies in a broken, defeated voice, What difference does it make now? I don't think we're going to make it anyway. This sparks a heated argument between the two. The toxic mix of exhaustion, fear, and grief turns every word into a weapon. Despite the fighting, the family doesn't stop. Without water, without hope, they keep marching forward. Every step feels like a burden, but stopping is as good as inviting death. After covering some distance, they spot a crashed plane amidst the sand and debris. Its fuselage is broken. Hearing a rustling sound from inside, the three freeze in fear. But upon closer look, they realize it's just some birds flapping around. Relieved that the danger has passed, they decide to spend the night inside plane, agreeing that staying out in the open is far too dangerous. They share the meager scraps of food they have left. During this quiet moment, Leah finds an old family photo in Mark's jacket pocket. Seeing the picture, her eyes well up with tears, and her heart breaks all over again. Seeing her silence, Emma asks softly, "Mom, what was your and Dad's love story?" Emma forces a bittersweet smile through the pain and gets lost in the memories. She tells her that Mark was once her patient when she worked at the hospital. One day, he brought her flowers and a short, beautiful poem. From that moment on, everything changed between them. The night grows darker. Everyone tries to get some sleep, but in the middle of the night, Emma quietly steps out of the plane. Perhaps she needs fresh air, or maybe she's trying to outrun her fears. But the moment she steps outside, someone approaches her from behind. In the darkness, that same terrifying man silently lunges to grab her. Just as the man tries to grab Cassie, Julia suddenly lunges at him from behind. Knife in hand, she stabs him repeatedly without stopping. Within moments, the man collapses to the ground. Only his final screams echo in the darkness. Terrified, Cassie runs and clings to her mother. Julia holds her tight, trying to calm her down. That night becomes the longest and most terrifying night of their lives. The next morning, they are horrified to see the man's corpse. Bugs are crawling all over his body, and deep bite marks are visible everywhere. It becomes clear that some highly dangerous creature is lurking in the area. As the family moves forward, they witness crabs crawling out of the man's mouth. The sight shakes them to their core, but they press on without stop. After hours of exhausting travel, Julia and Cassie stop to check the map. Meanwhile, Ben drifts ahead. Julia screams for him to stop, but by then, Ben has reached a small pond. Ben leans down to drink. Panicked, Julia rushes over and drags him away. She warns him that stagnant water like this could make him gravely ill, especially in their condition. The sun grows more intense. To escape the searing heat, they cover their heads with clothes, but Ben's condition worsens. He feels dizzy and can barely walk. Suddenly, they spot some old broken chairs nearby. Julia and Cassie build a makeshift shelter to give Ben some rest. Julia gives Ben an injection and decides they will camp there for the night. The night seems quiet, but the next morning, Julia wakes up to a strange sound. Peeking outside, her blood runs cold. A massive swarm of crabs is heading straight for them. Without wasting a second, Julia wakes the kids, and the three run for their lives. The sound of the crabs skittering behind them gets louder and closer. As they run, they spot a massive cargo ship in the distance. A ray of hope appears. When they finally reach it, they discover that 3 crew members on board are still alive. One of the 3 survivors on the ship, a woman, wants to help the family, seeing their condition, but the 2 men with her flatly refuse. Driven by fear, they lock the container from the inside, leaving the family stranded outside. Meanwhile, the crabs start closing in from all sides. Seeing the danger escalate, Julia screams at the kids to climb on top of the container. Cassie and Ben make it up, but as Julia tries to climb, the crabs sink their claws into her leg. She nearly falls from the agony, but the children summon all their strength and pull her up. Inside, crabs swarm in through a small breach in the container. The panicked crew opens fire. They hold them off for a moment, but the crabs soon overwhelm them, killing both men. The last survivor tries to escape through a hole in the roof, but the crabs drag him back down. Within seconds, he is gone too. Perched on top, Julia manages to bandage her wound, but due to heavy blood loss and excruciating pain, she passes out right there. When she wakes up later, she finds herself alone in the middle of a blinding sandstorm. Panicked, she gets up and calls out for the children. She grabs a weapon from a dead woman nearby and screams their names. Cassie hears her voice through the storm and rushes back. She explains that she and Ben had gone looking for help but found no survivors. Shortly after, they reunite with Ben, who has found an open container. They decide it's the safest place to wait out the storm. Julia pulls out Tom's lighter to cauterize her wound. The pain is so intense that she lets out a scream, but she manages to pull herself together. When the sandstorm finally settles, they discover another container nearby. Their eyes light up when they look inside. It is stocked with bottles of water. Searching the bodies around them, they also find a radio and a gun. For the first time, they feel a glimmer of hope that they might actually survive. Julia contacts Aaron on the radio again and informs him that they've lost their map. Aaron responds in a grave tone, revealing that his team was attacked by arthropods on their way. He explains that these are the same deep-sea creatures that have now adapted to land. The higher oxygen levels on the surface have made them massive and completely uncontrollable. Aaron urges the family to keep moving without wasting a second. His instruments indicate that the ocean is returning much faster than predicted. They have only a few hours left before the water hits. To signal his exact location, Aaron fires a flare high into the sky. Spotting the flare, Julia, Cassie, and Ben head in that direction. After a long trek, they come across a dilapidated portable toilet half buried in the sand. Ben takes a moment to relieve himself, knowing the journey ahead is still long. Moving further, they finally spot the submarine in the distance, but their relief is short-lived. To reach it, they have to navigate a treacherous, rocky canyon. The moment they step onto the path, the canyon walls begin to tremble. Rocks start crumbling from above, and within seconds, a terrifying rock slide begins. Acting on instinct, Julia shoves her children to safety on one side and dives back herself to ensure they aren't crushed by the falling debris. In seconds, a massive wall of rock crashes down, creating a barrier between them. Julia is trapped on one side and the children on the other. Panicked, Julia screams at the children to keep going without her, but Cassie flatly refuses. Sobbing, she insists that her mother try to climb over. A tearful argument ensues. Finally, with a heavy heart, Julia promises them that she will find a way to catch up with them later. Reluctantly, Cassie grabs her little brother Ben's hand and drags him forward, while Julia watches helplessly as they disappear into the distance. The children scramble over the rocky terrain with all their might and finally reach the submarine. But as they get close, their hearts stop cold. The scene outside the submarine is gruesome. Blood is splattered everywhere. Signs of a violent struggle mark the hull, and there is absolutely no movement from inside. It hits them instantly. Aaron is likely dead. That means it's all over, and that submarine was their one and only hope. Ben realizes that there was supposed to be one extra seat on board. That means, at the very least, he and Cassie can survive. But the thought breaks Cassie. Without wasting a heartbeat, she turns around and sprints back to find her mother. Meanwhile, Julia stands alone below when she spots a massive swarm of crabs crawling in the distance. She immediately raises her gun and opens fire. Several crabs drop dead, but the swarm is so relentless that holding them all back alone seems impossible. Just then, Cassie appears at the edge of the cliff above. She screams and reaches out her hand toward her mother. Ignoring the excruciating pain in her injured leg, Julia summons every ounce of strength and begins to climb. The crabs are now snapping at her heels. With Cassie's help, Julia somehow manages to pull herself up to the ledge. Clinging to each other, mother and daughter sprint toward the submarine without looking back. Ben is already positioned on top of the sub. He fires continuously to keep the crabs at bay, buying time for his family to board. But as the crabs reach the submarine's hull, they begin gnawing at it, their claws strong enough to tear through the metal. Julia provides covering fire until the very last second, ensuring both her children get inside safely. Suddenly, click, she realizes she is out of ammo. Without hesitation, she hurls the empty gun at the swarm and dives into the hatch right behind her kids. Julia peers out the porthole and sees the crabs swarming all over the submarine, desperately looking for a way in. At that exact moment, the ocean comes rushing back. The immense pressure of the surging water instantly engulfs the submarine. Without wasting a second, the three strap into their seats, buckle up, and tightly hold each other's hands. The next instant, massive waves begin tossing the submarine around violently. Everything inside is shaking uncontrollably. Julia's entire journey flashes before her eyes. Mark, the children's laughter, the pain, the fear, and every battle they've fought so far. Beside her, Cassie is overcome with nausea and throws up. Suddenly, that same piercing high-pitched sound screams through the air again, and one by one, they fade into unconsciousness. Sometime later, Julia's eyes flutter open. Panic, she looks for her children. Cassie and Ben are awake too. They are all alive, and right now, that is their greatest victory. They unlock the hatch and climb out, but the scene that greets them leaves them absolutely stunned. The ocean waves have deposited the submarine right in the middle of a devastated city. Ruins of buildings, submerged streets. But amidst the wreckage, there are signs of light. It means it's no longer just about survival, but a chance to start a brand new life. And with this glimmer of hope, our story comes to an end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you never miss out on thrilling stories like this. Thanks for watching.